Okay, I think we're live. Welcome everyone to the Where I'm Writing From ebook launch. We're really delighted to have you here tonight. My name is Christina and I am one of the partners for this project, and I will be introducing you to my other partners and our mentors and facilitators shortly. But for now, I just want to welcome you in. You should be watching us through the Cardiff Met Creative Writing YouTube channel. You should also be able to, if you've signed into a Google account, say a little hello in the chat. So if you would like to, feel free to say hello, to say where you're watching from. We'd be really happy to hear from you, and you could get a little used to how the chat runs. So the event is going to look a little different to some events that you've seen probably. We're going to have some live hosting by myself and my partners, Goddess and Kate. We're going to have some live readings from our mentors, Emma and Mercy, and then we're going to have some recorded readings from our project participants, which you'll see throughout the evening. If you would like to have some closed captioning, you should be able to click this on YouTube so that you have subtitles for the readings. And I can see Rhiannon Griffiths is here from Cardiff. Hi, Rhiannon. So yes, if you would like to say hello, you're very welcome to. So that's just a very quick introduction to what the night is going to look like in terms of the streaming on YouTube, how you might comment, and the fact that you can close caption or add subtitles if you would like to for the readings. But perhaps much more importantly, I would like to bring my partner Goddess onto screen now to actually talk a little bit about this Where I'm Writing From project. She's going to introduce you to the project, talk about how it got started, and what we've done. So please welcome Goddess. Hi, Goddess.
I have this really nasty feedback. I think it's me and something just going on. Yeah, so it's coming back. Everything I'm saying is getting repeated for some weird reason. But yeah, I'm so excited to be here. And good evening to everyone who's managed to join us. Um, we apologize for the time difference thing that happened, and we had to change the world's time. Um, you know, a few hours ago. So yeah, welcome. Like Christina said, my name is Goddess Putwa. I run a very small organization here called the Women's Center, and we work with young women and girls from underprivileged and underrepresented areas here in Zimbabwe. So yeah, let me do one thing talk about the project. So some of you might not know how we started. So I'm going to talk a bit about how we started. That is the When Women Write project. So the way where I'm writing project, which is the one we were working on since the beginning of this year, it's a spin-off from the When Women Write project, which was birthed in 2021 when the British Council Wales very, very wisely decided to fund it. So our main goal was to get young women from underrepresented and underprivileged areas to express themselves and find their voices through writing. We wanted them to be able to tell their very important stories through writing, because their stories need to be told and they need to be heard out there. So it is from this power of owning your story and from choosing how you want to tell it that to the world that one begins the process of empowerment. So where I'm writing from, where we were writing from, we're discovering just how important our landscapes, both inner and outer, are meaningful to us. Our homes and the places that we love the most, or otherwise, how these have shaped us, or how we are shaping them, or are in the process of doing so. So you find out that for yourself, when our writers read out their stories, or poems, and pre-recorded videos, just how some of these stories are quite riveting, some of them are quite very emotional. So this time we did our workshops a bit differently from how we did them in the first phase of the project when women write. So our writers from Zimbabwe had virtual retreats in areas that are supposed to have good internet, but we turned out not to be exactly that. So whilst our writers from Wales attended their workshops from home, and Christian and I, we attended our workshops from our different homes, and our mentors and slash facilitators, Emma Beynon and Mercy Dhliwayo, also attended the workshops, facilitated the workshops rather from their own homes. Because remember, this is a 100%, almost 100% online collaborative project. So after these virtual retreats, our writers were equipped enough to go back home and write about 3 pieces, their own choices with a theme, of place, womanhood, and landscape, and then they sent these pieces to their mentors for help and guidance, and their mentors gave back very detailed reports on how they can better their work, and you know, and then the writers wrote some more and edited, helped them edit their work, which sent to to me. We ended up having to edit the work after Kate couldn't. So we, yeah, ended up having this very amazing ebook collection of uh, stories and poems from 18, is it only from 19 writers from Zimbabwe and Wales. So I'm gonna leave it to you to listen and get a glimpse of what this uh, ebook is all about. So I think I've done my bit, Christina. I'm gonna hand over to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Goddess. That was wonderful. Really great kind of description of the project and where we started and what we've been up to. So thank you for that. Um, we do have a third partner named Dr. Kate North, who is going to be joining us a little bit later. But before we kick off and look at some of the readers for tonight, I thought I'd also share a little bit of my experience with this project. As Goddess said, this is our second international project from When Women Write, which was our first one, to Where I'm Writing From. Both of these have been incredible learning experiences for us both, and we have been continually inspired and moved by the transformative writing of our young women in both Wales and Zimbabwe. And we hope that you find that as well throughout this evening. And if you do, then we'd encourage you to check out this ebook. One of the great joys for me of this project was not only running workshops on the virtual retreats, but also talking reflectively about what those retreats meant to our participants and having a chance to see their finished writing and ordering that within the themes that kind of came out on this project. Some of the themes that Goddess mentioned of home and landscape and place and womanhood and empowerment. So having the chance to spend time with this work was a great privilege. And I hope that you'll find that as we go through this evening as well. So I'm now going to start to introduce our readers. So these readers have recorded their pieces, so you'll be watching the recordings of their work. They might also be in the audience here in the chat, so feel free to make comments as you're listening if you would like to. The first reader for tonight is from Wales. Her name is Alice Hall, and we chose her to be the first reader tonight because her 2 poems open our ebook. So when you have a look at this book, you will be greeted with Alice's poems first. So please join me in listening to Alice, our first writer here from Wales.
This poem that I'm going to read is called Stones. Skimming stones steadily, circular ripples without sound. Some stones are smooth, flat rocks nestled in the dirt. Others are jagged or chipped, worn by water over time. The stones, when skidded, hop, jump, and dance in the air. They refuse to sink, stay still for a second. Before they are pulled into gaping depths of rivers, I collect some from the water. They shine, resplendent, under my dirty fingertips, under skin that ages day by day. I collect them in a bag and take them. I collect them and I hear them sing. And my next poem is called Twilight Skies. If I'm led outside beyond this door's threshold, let me take these earphones away. Let me listen to the birds. If I am led outside by heart, body and soul, let all these distractions fall. Let me listen deeply, feel fully. If I am led outside to see a painted pink sky, let me stop and look before capturing it on camera. If I am led outside to gaze at the twilight sky, let me be warm so that I may stay a while beneath her. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Alice, for that wonderful opening to our evening. I love this idea of us paying attention to these stones, to these twilight skies. Just really powerful. So thank you for that, Alice. Okay, I'm going to introduce our second writer. Our second writer is from Zimbabwe, and I have to say I have been trying to practice my pronunciation, and I'm going to do my absolute best. But please forgive me if I slightly mispronounce anything here. So our next reader, who has 2 poems for us, is Lublalehe Moyo. And yeah, we're going to first listen to her poem Greener and Thicker, and then to Love. Enjoy.
Look at the mountains. My inner desires fly straight to them. That peaceful place where my ancestors are resting. Where I can hear an eagle whistling. On top of a mountain resting. Oh, what a marvelous view. It is rocky indeed, but there is a river that flows. Gwai River is our well, where crocodiles and hippos dwell. Just before the sunset, birds ahead. Then I see a large head being led by dusty particles, rushing to quench their thirsty souls. That is the river of life. Birds are singing the songs of joy. Its greener is thicker, it's closely packed. Forestry, home for wild animals and fruits. We respect such forestry. As ancestral spirits are roaming to find peace, humans and animals are intertwined, as they both depend on Mother Nature. Carnivores are praying for their daily meal. Take me to those still calm waters that resemble the breathtaking Lake Kariba, the river that kisses and embraces all the visitors to the lake. Then I'm pregnant with fish, rejoicing and jumping in still waters. Frogs are singing happy cheer. It's the time of the year. Sweet-scented surroundings. Oh, the eye-catching views. Mountains and rivers. Let's rekindle that spark again. In your arms, that is where I belong. They say there is a thin line between love and hate. Let's thicken that line with love. Let's build a castle of our dreams. Let's dwell in that castle till the end of time. Our love is priceless. It takes me into a deep ocean. Like a fish, I swim and rejoice in that feeling of being loved. To the mountains, I will go. To the woods, I will go. If you promise to hold my hand and walk with me. To the moon and back to earth, can you be my choice? Can you protect me from the wolves that are hungry for what is meant for you? Love me now, tomorrow, love me forever. Let's be Africa's Romeo and Juliet. Let's make them write our love story in pages. Let's create history once again. My love, all these years I've been looking for someone to call my king. I look deep into your eyes and I am filled with love. This is what man cannot buy. because it is something so divine. My love, this is a letter of expression and expectation. The experience is extraordinary and exciting. Your affection is heartwarming. My heart is rejoicing.
Oh, thank you so much. What an incredible celebration of nature and green spaces and love. Wonderful. Thank you so much. Okay, our next reader is Nositello Sibanda with a poem about love.
Now that you love me, love is a thing that we cannot see but can realize. Your voice is my favorite sound. Your name is my favorite noon. Your smile can be compared to a flower. Your voice is my playlist. Your heart is forever in my soul. Your love is not outside, it is deep within you. You are the best. Your love is so special that I will keep it in my heart forever. Your love is like a star that shines in my heart and light my life forever. You are my inspiration and everything to me. Thank you.
Thank you so much. As you can see, we have a theme emerging here, one which is prominent throughout our ebook around love, not just a love of natural spaces in the natural world, but romantic love and platonic love and familial love. We have another love poem coming up by Chantal Najuvo called Close to My Heart.
Seated in the smoke-drenched hut on a cold winter morning is the woman who gave birth to me for 9 months. She is in her late 40s, her hair placed with gray hair. She remains beautiful, paces up and down. The bubbling captures my mind. She carefully empties the pan. She lays bare golden and flavorful samosas. One bite and saliva commands me to drive the chunk down my throat. Hot tea, aroma-filled coffee in condensed milk. My stomach awaits in haste. Admiration is all I have for her. Nurturing us is her calling. My mother, an angel, cautions me of a choke if I don't slow down. I giggle. A teenager protected from the brutal outside. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chantal. What a powerful reading as well. Just so steady and so clear. Really, really enjoyed that. Okay, we've got one more writer from this first set. This writer's name is Attilia Matimadina, and Attilia has experimented with 2 poems here, 30 Fs and Scars. Please help me welcome her.
Figure, flick the flex, then flash the flesh. Fetch the flag, then flush the flute. Fire the fork, but flash the fox. Fill the field if you find the flap. Force the feather to flock and flood. Flop the flayed, but flay the flayed. Fine, feed the fish with the fleck. Scars to her beauty, you have ruined her. But why? Wait a second. Toothless mouth, fractured leg, and a broken heart, you have turned into a monster husband. Look, even the children are afraid of your presence. If I did not know, I would say it was an arranged marriage without you knowing. But no, you would cry, kneel, and plead with the poor girl to love you. Now you act as if she's a doormat, and use the tissue, a white elephant. You look at her like a spoiled pet. With your own hands, you have destroyed what you used to admire. She's no longer attractive, covered with bruises. No one loves her, not even you. She's damaged, only scars.
Gosh, thank you so much, Attila. What an incredibly moving and powerful poem about scars and domestic violence and domestic abuse. Some of these dark themes came through lots of the poems that you'll hear tonight. And I think these can be really powerful. And it just is a testament to some of the safe space that we were able to create in the Where I'm Writing From project. So thank you so much for listening to our first set of readers from Wales and Zimbabwe. It is now my great honor to introduce one of our mentors for this project. From this mentor, Emma Beynon is from Wales, and I'm going to read a little bio about her, and then she will join us to talk a little bit about her experience on the project and do her own reading for us. So Emma Beynon is a qualified teacher and poet with considerable experience of working in community for Radiate Arts, Mind, and projects such as It's Called Fosun. Emma has also taught creative writing for the Hay Festival, Natural Resources Wales, as well as leading Cabon Scriblio, a creative writing project for young people funded by Children in Need. Every winter, Emma leads writing residencies in Iceland for the Museum of Everyday Life in the Western Fjords. Emma is currently studying poetry with Kim Moore. Welcome, Emma.
Oh, hello. Thank you very much. It's just such a privilege to be here, and it was so exciting to listen to those poems. I really enjoyed working on this project, and it was just extraordinary to listen to the young girls develop their voice and create amazing ideas, and the rhythm and the color of the poetry was amazing. So with this excitement in mind, I'm going to present my poems, and interestingly enough, they pretty much follow the themes of our fantastic project. I'm going to share with you poems about womanhood, landscape, and finally home. So I'll just make a start. I'm going to start with a poem about my childhood, which is actually about 55 years ago, and the poem is entitled The Swinging 60s. So here we go. My mum sits on the side of her bed, breastfeeding my baby sister. My middle sister is playing hairdressers, banging mum's head carefully with a brush. I'm on the floor reading a book with made-up words. Outside, my big sister is cycling round and round the backyard. Sometimes we hear the scrape of mudguards against concrete. When we grow up, we're going to be boys. As you could see, just from my perspective as a little girl, things for women weren't that equal. Now I'm going to move on to the issue of childbirth and being a grandmother. I recently became a grandmother, and it was a very joyous event, but during the process I was reminded about how fragile and beautiful birth can be. Still life. 9 a.m, Sunday motorway, driving to hospital. There's a sleek fox on the hard shoulder, beautiful, dead. A baby 3 months early squirms in the incubator. The next poem I'm going to read is about those first few days when a baby arrives home and the intensity of the experience. Mother love. The baby sleeps. The size of a fist, he slipped into the world with one cut. The nurse says you have to wake him once every 2 hours. He's too young to feed. His mother coos and kisses him to hunger. He wakes screaming like a banshee. He clamps down on the breast. The mother screams. The baby does not flinch. The next poem, I suppose, takes place a little older in a child's kind of life, and it really reflects the difficulties and separations of divorce. The title of the poem is called Care and Control, which is one of the legal ways in which the judge will share the parent's care of the child. Care and control. The slim air stewardess holds the little girl's hand as they walk neatly through departures. A woman leans heavily against the barrier as her child, walks politely out of the country. The final poem I'm going to read in my selection of poems about womanhood is really a poem, well, it's sort of like a bit of a guidelines on how to leave a relationship in a positive way, because sometimes you have to just close the door and move on. Here we go. This poem is called Hand Luggage. Yes, I packed it myself, folding at the bottom, the day you gave me a present as big as a bed. Then on top, I placed the time you joined me on the dance floor to hop for hours off the beat. Down the side, I squeezed the 3 days I wore your new waterproof trousers while you got drenched. I slid then in the 7,300 days my heart jumped when I heard your name. I did not, as directed, pack the knife you used to carve and reshape, the silence, the gaslight, the way you never trusted my map reading. In here, there is nothing that won't go through security. Now, the next poem, I'm wondering whether, Christina, you could possibly share one of my photographs. So that's it really for womanhood. And these poems, the next poems, really reflect on landscape, and one of my favourite landscapes, which is the sea. Over the last 20 years, I have spent a lot of time sailing in a little wooden boat, and I've gone right up into the Arctic and amongst the ice. And there's the picture of the boat, and I wanted people to see it because it's quite old-fashioned, and you can see the big tall mast, and you could see the halyards either side, and that long pointy out bit is the bowsprit. We put our sails onto it. And this is a very old boat, and we would go right up into the ice in it. And actually, you might not be able to see it, but the thickness, it was literally only about a centimetre thick. So if we'd hit any ice, it would have been quite something. Okay, there's the picture, and now I'm going to get on with the poem. The first poem, I'm going to share some of the technical terms. In this poem, the first poem, I refer to a winch. Now, the winch is a big metal, it's like a set of cogs, and it's used for pulling up the anchor, and it's very, very heavy. And this poem is entitled Making Way. And making way refers to the way that when you're in a sailing boat, here's your boat, okay, and you've got the wind blowing this way. So that means you should be sailing, as it were, with the wind pushing you. But because the sea is pushing you with its currents a different way, you can actually be heading in one direction, but actually going in another. And that where the route you're actually going is called making way. Okay, here we go. Making way. We met at a party, too old for babies, too furious for romance. We shared a frenzy for horizons. So we set sail in a wooden boat. In the first storm, a halyard broke. You told me not to worry. I could see the mast lean in the gale. By dawn, the wind had dropped. We ran aground so many times, I became expert in pelting across the deck, swinging the boom to set her free. We made north, cutting through gales in heavy jumpers to hear the low moan of glaciers, the whir of guillemots, the chatter of pilot whales, as we edged through the trash ice growling against the bow. In time, we found the winch too heavy to turn alone. Then we could not hold the weight of the wind in the main. Now we are moored on the canal. The wooden hull grinds against the parapet. You keep asking me so many times each day, where did you say we are going? Another poem I'd like to share with you about sailing is when you're sailing across quite big stretches of water, you often have to sail at night, and you always have somebody at the helm, which means they're the person steering. And I was often lucky enough to get the last bit of the night watch and the dawn. And this is a poem about me being on my own, sailing the boat into the darkness. Daybreak at sea. Late summer, just before dawn, sailing back from Ireland. The compass set for the Bishop's Rocks. The wind is light. A zinc bucket tinks against the winch. All night the sea and sky share the same darkness. The crew are asleep below deck. I am the captain now. My eyes fix on the compass, then scan ahead for the dread triangle of port, starboard, white mast light, collision course. The sky fades. A sharp gleam cuts across the deck. Lighthouse? Buoy? No sound of surf. I turn to starboard and see, with each roll of the boat, a blade of light flash across the fetch of the wave. The sun is darting out past the sticky certainty of earth. The final poem I'd like to read to you about sailing in the Arctic is set in Svalbard, and that picture that you see there is actually Svalbard. Svalbard is an island, and it's the most northerly island before you get to the North Pole. It's about 400 miles from the North Pole. We'd been sailing up the coast for about 4 days, and it's all uncharted territory, so you had to be quite alert. One of the things that happens, because of the ice, the pack ice, and the way the light forms, you get something called ice blink, which is when everything flashes in front of your eyes and you see mirages. And this is my poem in praise of a tiny little cove where we were able to shelter. Ode to Brockenbreen. You hold the cove in your bony hands. Your glacier trails in mud. Your shale flanks are fractured and dusty. Low mist hangs on your hunched broken peaks. Ugly sister of the Arctic, even your name crumbles. But when we edged over your reef at high tide to anchor under the little orcs bickering above the bay, your grubby shelter soothed our sailors' sight after the leap and shiver of the ice blink. Right, my last two poems are about home, and I live with my family, near my family, on the family farm. And these two poems are about sheep and sheep farming. And the first one is called Spots in Time. First light every morning, I go up to feed the animals on the hill where the wind is so strong it can roll a bale of hay back up at you. The sheep are sheltering below under the rocks where the slope drops steeply to scree. As I push the gate open against the wind, time drops away from me, and I see myself here now, 60 years old, white hair, wrinkles, struggling through the mud. I don't have long to wait intently each winter for spring. I'm just checking the sheep. But who will remember my noticing? Right, the final poem is called Invisible Bond, and this is a phrase invented by the biologist Rupert Sheldrake, who believes that humans and animals can talk to each other beyond words and that they connect intuitively. Here it is, Invisible Bond. Once, 3 sheep crouched so close to me I could hear them pee. I had leapt over the gate. I'm not sure who started first, but it was a relief. There we are. That's my poems. Thank you very much.
Oh, Emma, those were fantastic. Thank you so much. It was really wonderful to hear not just about your experience on the project as the fabulous mentor that you were, but also to see how you interpret the themes on this project, the kind of themes of womanhood and also of landscape and the changing place with the sailing and then coming home. So that was absolutely wonderful, and I really appreciate it. So thank you so much for sharing with us. So now I'm going to introduce my partner, Goddess. So Goddess is going to come in for us to introduce our second set of readings. So welcome, Goddess. Goddess, you're still on mute. Let's see, unmute you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, can you now hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
I mean, I was still muted. I apologize for that. So
Don't worry.
yeah, I'm gonna introduce about 4 poems or 4 poets or 5 poets now, and the first one here is Rhiannon. So Rhiannon is one of the very few writers that would or who chose to continue with us in the second phase of our project. So she's very special to us. So we have been amazed at how she's grown in this project, and she's now really an amazing poet. And I think she still has a lot more, room for growth. And but really, she's really amazing now. And I especially loved her poem, "The Surf," which is going to start first, which I interpreted as, a way in which somebody's struggling with some, mental issues or some battles that are going on in their minds. And then she, in the end, there's a kind of sigh of relief as the whoever, is in the poem is sort of gets over or wins or gets over the battles that they've been going through. So yeah, she this is all symbolized by someone who's born to surf and going through all these battles in their minds. And yeah, so enjoy that poem. And another poem which it's got a Welsh title, which I'm not going to try to pronounce, but it means "we are here," and it's really her expressing her Welsh pride. So yeah, here you go.
The surf. 1, 2, 3. I battle my way through the water, my arms of no more use than a lover's caress against its mighty power. That tide throws me like a rag doll. Salt and brine fill my mouth and eyes, making me unsteady on my board, the power battering and bellowing around me. 4, 5, 6. The waves fight against each other, beating me into submission as they attempt to drag me under, until all I can do is float. Try and hold my head above water, waiting for the right time, the right swell, that will make the battle worth fighting, the one I will rise back to the sand. 7, 8, 9. Turning my board towards the shore, I wait for the arrival of Mother Nature's crest, her powerful thrust that will send me flying, soaring, gliding, along on her glorious wave. I scream in pure ecstasy as joy and freedom fill my veins, made even more poignant after the battle to meet it. 10. I can finally breathe. Or heed. I come from mountains, a green sanctuary and prison, history forged in every breath, a surviving community. I am from Llywelyn ap Gruffydd, from Owain Glyndŵr, those who fought and bled, unable to see their dreams come true. I come from the power of song, the heartbeat of community, delicate notes of a harp only the purest hearts can sing. I am from castles on hilltops, floating dragons on flags, mines of black diamonds filling the land. I am from ancient language, so pure and old, unwilling to be forgotten, the lifeblood of the land. I am from battles lost and won, from oppressions great and small, entire villages swallowed whole to water someone else's home. I am from stubbornness, passion and belief, from farmers, miners and fishermen, the land of our forefathers, Rydni Ama or Hyd.
Oh, thanks so much, Rhiannon, for those really, you know, really, I mean, you really feel the feelings behind, you really feel the emotion behind those poems when you're writing and how meaningful they are to you. So I'm going to move on to our next poet. Here is, her name is Eve Mary Panache Zunza. She's here from Zimbabwe. And she is going to read for us two poems. One, My African Pride, which she eloquently, puts together, talking about, how much beautiful Africa is, all the way from Cape to Cairo, as they say. And then the second poem is about, uh, this woman who is very sophisticated, who wears high heels, who goes into boardroom meetings, who, is very confident, that kind of woman we all want to be, I think. So, yeah, I'm going to leave you to, hear all about these two poems from Eve Mary Panache-Zunza.
My African Pride, the genesis, originator of all Africa, from Cape to Cairo, from the Zambezi River to the Limpopo River, from the Victoria Falls, the Great Pyramids, the Renaissance statue, the Nile River, and even the Table Mountains, being home to the world's largest man-made lake, which forms the mighty Zambezi, and the majestic Mosia Tunya, embedded with nature like no other place, home to the world's largest statue, standing at 49 meters tall, our Egyptian pyramids, dating to more than a millennium back, having the most powerful rulers of the world's greatest dynasties resting there. It's our African heritage, the cradle of mankind. Even coffee originates from here. One of the world's oldest universities is here, and the world's oldest literature originates from here. It all began with Africa. From the Sahara to the Namib in Kalahari daisies, hot sun in little vegetation, cold nights sending shivers to its inhabitants. From Algeria to Zimbabwe, home to half of the world's surviving apes. Our Congo basin, our rainforest, the lion, the leopard, the elephant, the hippopotamus, and the rhinoceros. All these are here. This is our land, our Africa, and I pride in African. Thank you. The modern day woman. Designer handbag on my left, laptop bag on my right, makeup on point, head held up high. I do my power walk into the boardroom, minds raw and heads turn. Kate walking to my seat at the far end of the table. Judgmental looks from men, proud looks from my fellow sisters. I have a trail of pride where I step. The murmurs continue after I sit, creating room for my handbag. The meeting begins. White sheets of paper spread all over the table, with barely enough space for a water bottle. Men and women bringing their A-game, ready to conquer the world, bringing together volumetric ideas, creating wonders never seen before. Projectors showing yesterday's hard work. It's my time to shine. The echo of my heels as I walk to the front. Again, judgmental looks I receive. The moment I open my mouth, shock engulfs everyone. The noise made by the silence is unbearable. They all wonder where all that potential was hidden. But dynamites come in small packages, and half of my beauty are my brains. Thank you.
Well done, Eve Mary. I really love the power in your poems. You're very unapologetic. You really clearly say, what you want to say, and I think it shows in your poem, the modern African woman, or the modern day woman. Yeah, I really loved your poems, Eve Mary. Thank you. Then we move on to Kudzai. Kudzai is one of our very new poets that joined us this year. Very enthusiastic young woman. I don't think she's here today. She says she's not feeling well, but yeah, she managed to express a kind of awareness of what's important is we encourage our writers and the poets to write whatever is important to them, whatever makes them feel, that this is meaningful and the world needs to know about it. So she expressed this in the poem Education. So here you go.
A genius without education is like silver in the mine. Education unlocks iron doors. It brings joy to today and creates a good vision for tomorrow. Like two wheels, both men and women are now able to get educated, looking forward to equality. There is now a foot in the door. Educated women dynamically manage the family. They improve social development, producing a strong future generation. Women's wishes have already come true. They have begun to fly. Now there is a great contribution towards the socio-economic health of the nation. Children are handled more safely and more efficiently. Women now have the ability to apply their physical and mental energies in solving problems. Women, do not waste time in fear. Nothing will work unless you are educated. Be expressive in whatever you do. Education is the key to freedom if you know the importance.
Thanks so much, Kuzai, for that. Yeah, we can move on to two poems by Daisy. Daisy is also one of the writers we started with in the first phase, and I'm sure she's very proud of herself. With the very marked journey that she has heard in this project is amazing. I totally was in love with her poem in Unwanted Visitor. It's very expressive. She's very open and honest in it, and yeah, I think it's. I'll just leave you to listen to it and make your own opinion of it. And then her other poem, Mother, is quite the opposite of An Unwanted Visitor, if you may. She in this one, she's pouring out her love for her mother, and in An Unwanted Visitor she's showing out how much she has fallen sort of out of love with her father. So yeah, I'm gonna leave you to listen to them. Enjoy.
We accepted that we were out for good, out of our lives. I was a little innocent baby. When I watched you turning your back on us, you left us on dust. I saw my mother pleading for you to come back. At that time, she needed a shoulder to cry on. I still remember worsening the situation for her. Mommy, mommy, where's daddy going? I waited for you. After some while, we were done from waiting. The family started smiling again. Then you came back from Norway. Did you think I would let you in? Where were you all these years? When my school fees, clothes to wear, and food to eat gave mommy headaches all night. She suffered but never made us miss you. For what reason should I understand? You were helpless. Where exactly? We don't need you and your money. Did you think you would win our hearts? You were dreaming, my dear father. It is so disgusting that we share the same blood. We are two completely different people. If it was possible, I could have washed this same blood thing. I'm not a coward and selfish like you. Don't tell me not to raise my voice. I will shout and shout so that the whole neighborhood would hear. Today I won't keep quiet. I will stand up for my mother and these little siblings of mine. See now, my mother has a breakdown again. She can't say anything at all. Rather, she weeps. Yes, you are older than me. I perfectly know that. I'm not attacking you. Oh, really? You are calling me mannerless. Honestly, I don't care. You never mattered in my life, so why should I worry? Do whatever you want to. Will you beat me as you used to? You are a mouse and a beast. Take your man and get out. Never bother to come back. A mother's love is unique. Without it, the child cannot be whole. Every baby needs a mother's figure. My mom was my pillar. She nurtured me like a precious egg. She could not afford to make me fall. A slightest pain would make her worry. Everything in my life was perfect, all thanks to her. Every success I conquered, there was her behind. My happiness was in that woman. She was my closest friend. I lost trust in friends of my age. I once shared something with my so-called bestie. Few days later, it started spreading in the whole school. She could not even hold my tiny little secret, but my mother could do that. I trusted her a lot. My dad even got jealous about this. He thought he was left behind. I honestly blurted the truth out. I love you, but I love mommy the most. Then one day my friend was snatched from me. We were separated forever. She was never coming back. There was nothing in my power to get her. She passed away so soon. I wanted her to enjoy my riches, provide her heart had always yearned for. I wanted to show her the green pastures.
Oh, thanks so much, Daisy, for that very heartfelt reading, readings rather. I thoroughly enjoyed, like I say, especially the poem "An Unwanted Visitor," and I hope you did too. So my last poet that I'm going to introduce is Nobukosi Pindlovu. So Nobukosi is one of our writers from who joined us this year. She is from Lupane, one of the districts that we started working with this year. Yeah, I think we have, poets in Nobukosi, and you're gonna hear it for yourself. Okay, enjoy.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to recite an ode to mothers. You are warriors. You bring balance to every strategy to make your children happy, a responsibility you choose to bear. You are women of steel, willing to do anything for your young. We are your pride. We make you who you are. Men envy you. You are more than just women. You carry love to last a lifetime. Who wouldn't want to be you? All this may be said, but words will never be enough to show our admiration, love, and gratitude to you, our mothers. May our actions and behaviors be an example of your wise teachings, for you are professors worth following, servants to all, leaders at heart. Thank you. Of youth. Torn rags is all I've ever worn. My feet, the only shoe I've used. A beggar, they call me, when it was never my choice to be born in poverty, for I am still human. When I seek their hands for assistance, they humiliate my vulnerability. They direct me to the dog pen to eat its leftovers, without consideration of the mental distress they leave behind from their words, forgetting that I'm not a living corpse, for I am still human. In angst, I can only break down in my bed, for the comfort of a better tomorrow I will never get. Only the hope that Father will one day remember me and uplift me to be human enough in all their eyes. Lions move in packs, elephants in herds, but never have I seen a destructive community like humans. We break instead of build. We laugh instead of assist, which makes one wonder, are we surely human? Thank you.
Thanks so much for that, Aish. The poem "Tears of Youth." I feel my eyes get teary, and just hearing her read it out just makes it even more, emotional. Even though she reads it quite calmly. So yeah, I'm done with the set of poems that I had. Thank you so much for allowing us to get a glimpse of the worlds that you live in, glimpse of your hearts as your homes, glimpse of the places and landscapes as your homes. I really appreciate that. So I'm gonna introduce someone special. Like Emma, who was introduced by Christina. We had our own facilitator and mentor from Zimbabwe, but she is based in South Africa. So I'm going to introduce her, and she will, after that, give us a 15-minute reading of her own work. So this woman that I'm talking about is called Mercy Dhliwayo. She's a creative writer, a poet, a hip-hop artist who goes by the stage name Sister X. A human rights advocate at heart, she uses her art as a form of advocacy. Her debut short story collection, Bringing Us Back, was the recipient of the 2022 Zimbabwean National Art Merit Award for Outstanding First Creative Published Work. Her writing has also been featured in local, regional, and international publications such as Caravan Magazine, East Jasmine Review, New Contrast, Femme Rights, Nothing to See Here, Poetry Portion, and Monsieur Tunya Review, amongst others. In 2019, she released her debut hip-hop and spoken word album, The XA Gender. I can't wait to listen to that, by the way. She's also the founding member of the Slam Emporium Polokwane, an organization that grants a platform for performance and creative growth in Polokwane and its surrounding areas. So, ladies and gentlemen, if there are any gentlemen here, that is, please, let's listen and see Mercy Dhliwayo. Read to us. Mercy.
Good evening. Thank you so much for this wonderful platform. It's been amazing experiencing this journey with beautiful writers from across Zimbabwe and Wales, writers from areas that one never thought they'll ever encounter. So it was quite an enriching experience to go through that. So I really enjoyed the readings from the ladies and from Emma. Thank you so much for sharing. My pieces are a bit longish. I tried to marry the idea of home with issues that are close to my heart. Like my first piece, I cannot separate the idea of home from the issue of language. I find languages are very important, and they are one identifier of where you come from. So the first piece I'm going to share with you is titled These Tongues. Words slide out of our lips and pour out in beautiful melodies. Thick, honeygold pleasantries gliding ceremoniously in unrestricted territories. Serene soliloquies draped in majestic garments of transverse ideologies. Bold tongues molding speech, spit in revolution, preaching gospels that spew out of our mouths and cling to our ears, engraving legacies, bearing testament of the predicament of modernity. Behold the global age of complex identities, where we define ourselves in tongues and dialects important, while our mother tongues grow impotent, our voices swallow.
Mercy, I'm just popping in here because I think that you have frozen. Oh, you're back.
Okay, sorry.
That's okay. Would you mind starting from the beginning of your first poem so we don't miss anything?
The first poem.
That would be great.
Okay. The first poem was titled These Tongues. Words slide out of our lips and pour out in beautiful melodies. Thick, honey-gold pleasantries gliding ceremoniously in unrestricted territories. Celine soliloquies draped in majestic garments and transverse ideologies. Bold tongues molding speech, spitting revolution, preaching gospels that spew out of our mouths and cling to our ears, engraving legacies bearing testament of the predicament of modernity. Behold the global age of complex identities, where we define ourselves in tongues and dialects important, while our mother tongues grow impotent, our voices swallowed and vocabulary narrowed to tongues borrowed, tongues that do not recognize the sound of the names, tongues that cannot find meaning in our totems, tongues with no dialects, tongues that determine the scope of our intellects. With these alien tongues that we have grown to dream and think in, what knowledge of self shall we impart in the future we conceiving? Was I audible then?
Hi, yes, we could hear you, but it cut out for a very brief moment.
Oh,
I have to say, your rhymes and rhythms are amazing.
Thank you so much. The second piece that I will recite, it's drawn from the dilemma that we face as immigrants who are forced to leave their countries for different reasons. Some leave because of economic reasons and some because of safety, lack of safety in their own countries. And now you find yourself as foreigners in lands that are not your own. So that's what inspired this piece, as it interferes with the idea of home. But this piece in general was inspired by Wasson Shear's piece, Home. And this piece is titled Hands of Men. When home becomes cold and its granaries grow empty, when the streets grow hostile and its people angry, when the land of your birth becomes a hearse and life itself a generational curse, when you're forced to empty your purse to be packed in airtight vans because home is an open tear gas can and your only defenses risking hostile waters or crawling under fences. Your senses do not envisage anything worse than the landmines and the grave sites you left behind. You do not envisage yourself to reduce to an animal of a kind, your hands and feet tied, personhood commodified, caged and confined to breathe among swine, to absorb their filth until this filth becomes yours, until the restless souls and tormented spirits of those that they devoured begin to haunt you, and images of the dead invade and occupy each and every space in your head, the fumes of the decomposing flesh infiltrating every single breath. You wear their scent, but their scent is overpowered by your very own stench. Your stench chokes you. The rot of menstrual blood suffocates you. It's clotting, bruising you, eating into your skin like maggots crawling beneath flesh corroding. You do not imagine those landmines exploding deep into your groins until the fiery bullets from a stranger's loins rapture your hymen, and your screams only heighten his hunger as each thrust becomes pangas, jabbing death into your vagina, until your vagina becomes a grave site you left behind. When it never crossed your mind that when this hostile water spew you out of life, those gods of yours that spared you from a crocodile's jaws will only take you from a lion's den and usher you into the hands of men. That is Hands of Men. And I think this will be my last piece because it's also a bit longish. It's titled Dollars and Pounds, also inspired by the whole idea of missing home and what it means to be a foreigner in a land that's not your own. Dear love, I'm losing your face. in this puzzle of photographs and memories that occupy this empty space, a vast array of fragmented relics of a happier place, no recollection of your scent, trapped in the suspense of prolonged longings for your body with hardly memory of its feel, the strength of its embrace, the stature of your poise, your voice, a distorted memory, lost in transmission, somewhere between the transition from overnight conversations to telephonic confrontations. So much is lost in translation, and the language of love is teleported through electronic gadgets that reduce the love language to habitual misuse and love use. Pregnant with missing words that need to be said and long to be fed to hungry ears on the other end of long distance telephone calls. And the worst of it all is you seeing your daughter in frozen Kodak moments and raising our sons over a Skype page when there is no media in this modern age that can ever replace the moments missed. The first tooth, the first fall, the first step. Never thought these many firsts will make it as an absent image occupying your spot in the first birthday shot. This is not how it is supposed to be. But who am I to cry if not supposed to be when I am granted this blessing and this privilege of raising my own daughter when many mothers across borders are raising daughters of many mothers across borders leave their daughters to raise siblings leave the daughters to raise the siblings, leaving the weaklings burdens of imposed motherhood, accumulating hardships no child ever should, with no papers to take them with and put them into school. The mummies can only long to go back, but people at home say no and tell of a worsening economy, retrenchments and layoffs and ever-increasing poverty. In a land of excess mineral commodities, a land where the entire population is brought to its knees and stripped of all humanity, a land where shamboks tear into your flesh for daring to protest, a land where you can disappear without a trace, a land that is burdened by hate and is known to speculate and eagerly anticipate the death of a single being, a nation deserting its land as its inhabitants are reduced to illegal immigrants. But it's not evident to the president and his entire cabinet that the people are tired. See, we are tired of these borders. We are tired of these waters. We're tired of raising our daughters across borders, separated by these waters, defying the divine order of the Holy Trinity. This inadequacy of this duality is nothing dollars and pounds could ever remedy. So we are tired of these borders and we're tired of these waters. We're tired of raising our daughters across borders, separated by these waters, defying the divine order of Holy Trinity. This inadequacy of this duality is nothing dollars and pounds could ever remedy. See, we are tired of being labeled as foreigners. We're tired of longing to go back. We're tired of longing to belong in places that'll never feel like home. We're tired of crossing into borders where our lives could be shkotora, in hostile territories where you are bound to lose all sense of identity. And this here place where you actually learn to lower your voice and master the art of concealing our R's and rolling our tongues into complacent L's in fear of an attentive ear, quick to detect the anomalies in our vocabularies, the abstract of our accents, so we readjust our dialects and monitor how we articulate in a bid to reconcile ourselves to the necessity of hidden identities, in a bid to escape the brutalities meted against foreign nationalities, exiled here and living in constant fear of being shamboked and set alight, as and when a handful decides that it's time for us to go. But in home is the raging fumes propelling you to leave, to whose arms do you flee? So dear Mr. President and your entire cabinet, if it's not evident that the people are tired, and hear the people when they chant, we are tired. We are tired of these borders and we are tired of these waters. We're tired of raising our daughters across borders, separated by these waters, defying the divine order of a Holy Trinity. This inadequacy of this duality is nothing dollars and pounds could ever remedy. See, we are tired of these waters and we are tired of these borders. We're tired of raising our daughters across borders, separated by these waters, defying the divine order of a Holy Trinity. This inadequacy of this duality is nothing dollars and pounds could ever remedy, because dollars and pounds, euros and rands, pullers and yens, they can never remedy the inadequacy of a duality of mother and child when it's supposed to be a Holy Trinity of father, mother, and child. Thank you. I hope it was quite clear. That's all I have for you.
Oh my word, Mercy. I wrote there that Sister X is in the building. I mean, yeah. Oh my God, you were on fire. I totally love that you. We're tired for real of being labeled as foreigners. We're tired of being separated by these waters. I mean, words. Okay, before I get excited, we're not yet done. We have someone else, some very special that I need to introduce. to you guys. Like Christina said earlier, we have a third partner who's called Dr. Kate North. She is our our voice of reason. Our when we need to make a decision, it's very, very helpful to have her, and we always rely on her expertise. She edited all our, the ebook for last year for the first phase, and then she was supposed to do the editing again this year. Unfortunately, she got a new job, so she couldn't get around to doing it. So yeah, she's gonna come here and probably introduce herself better, and then introduce the next set of parts. All right. So Kate, here you are.
Hi, can you hear me there, Goddess?
I can hear you quite clearly, Kate. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. Sorry, I just had a bit of a technical thing my end. It's great to be here, and I've so enjoyed the readings and the performances so far. It's been an absolute privilege. Yeah, I feel really blessed to be part of this, even if it's only been in a small way. Just hearing everyone's words and listening to the powerful stories that everyone has to tell has just been really moving. Yeah, so I'm based at Cardiff Met with Christina, and I've been sort of supporting you guys from the sidelines, and it's just been so enjoyable. So I'm really pleased to be able to introduce some voices this evening, that some that I recognise from a previous incarnation of this project, and some are new to me. All really powerful writers. And first up, we've got Kundai Manyera, and she reads two poems that. The first one, My Country, is really about the effect that an economy can have on a person in a very personal way. And I find that really sort of powerful, how global economics can impact on something as essential as buying bread. And then her second poem, Cries of Man, is really moving, and it's a poem in which she describes the vulnerability of men. And yeah, so I invite you all to listen and watch.
Country. Our Zimbabwe, my Zimbabwe. I'm pained by my country's economy. Everything is getting out of hand. Prices are skyrocketing every day. No, every day is an understatement. Every hour, every minute. Is it acceptable that when one is queuing to pay for bread, and minutes later, the price of bread goes up? My country reminds me of France during Louis XVI's reign in 1788. It hurts to have to carry a big bag of money only to buy a loaf of bread. Our Zimbabwe, my Zimbabwe, everything is getting ungovernable. Even the American dollar is no longer valuable enough in Zimbabwe. There are high rates of inflation in my country. The government seems to be taking weak action. I'm not sure if anything is going to change for the better. Things are getting out of hand. Everything seems to be uncontrollable. I'm weeping because of my country. Zimbabwe is well known for its educated people, but there is hardly a difference between the educated and the non-educated. It is because there are no jobs in Zimbabwe. Imagine getting a degree just to stay at home with it without a job. Degree holders end up street vendors. We need a better Zimbabwe, a better economy. Every citizen needs to take action for the betterment of our country. The cries of a man. I saw him sniveling, a cloud of hurt in his eyes, a whole man looking disturbed, a man feeling helpless. That was new to me. Growing up, we knew and believed that no man or boy cries. The belief was men are the strongest people. They never cry, and crying was only for us girls. I thought that only girls could feel hurt, had feelings and emotions. But when I attended the funeral of my friend Wayne's mother, I saw him shedding tears of sorrow and sadness. He looked hurt. Where I come from, a man is not supposed to cry. A man is not supposed to show his weakest side. To be a man who sheds tears is to be a weakling, a coward, a woman. Though he cried out all his emotions and pain, people continued telling him, a man does not shed tears. Wayne decided to stand up for himself. Men are humans. They feel pain. They get hurt. Men have feelings. They have emotions. They need to be understood. They need shoulders to cry on. They are humans just like women. We cannot suffer and die with pain inside without letting it out. It is dangerous. Everyone should know that crying is not a sign of weakness and is not for women only.
Yeah, that last poem really makes me think, you know, how woman is used as an insult, but also how men are entitled to the right to cry just like women. Also, it's really powerful. Thank you, thank you. Um, so next we have Olivia Mapunga, and she reads two poems. Her first poem is almost Wordsworthian in its sort of awe of nature, and the sublime sort of awe that one can experience when actually contemplating your surroundings. I really enjoyed it, and it's up there for me with Wordsworth's Daffodils. And then her second poem is a kind of sort of philosophical uh, meditation really on you know, one of the things that we all have to grapple with, life and death and why we live to die ultimately. So some really really thought-provoking stuff here.
The glamour of nature. Breezy air gives me pleasure. Sparkling stars makes me speechless. The sun that penetrates my skin makes it glow. The twittering of birds alludes my joy. The swaying of trees attracts my eyes. God's creation is just the prettiest. Animals, trees, and soil intermingle. Tiny pores on leaves release oxygen. Animals exhale carbon dioxide. Leaves and animals droppings create manure. The blooming of flowers gives full glory. Mountains touch the sky. Rivers are always alive. How glamorous nature is. The heart becomes idle. The blood no longer circulates. The eyes peacefully closed. Hands folded neatly around the chest. Dear ones are forcefully taken from us. Life becomes dull. Death successfully takes happiness. Hearts are pierced with a hot iron. Memories of dear ones never fade. Why are we born to die? Why do people die without notice? Death visits like a thief at midnight. It comes without an invitation card. Within a blink of an eye, everything vanishes into thin air. Death is a reality that is painful. We are all meant to die. No one stays alive forever. Indeed, death is inevitable.
Um, thank you for that, Olivia. And sort of sticking on the theme really, uh, moving to Tariro Chidzomba, she has two poems, and the first one is a meditation on a tragic event, really, an everyday event in some ways, but a tragic event that will leave the people it concerns, and their loved ones rather, forever changed. It's a kind of an ode poem, a memorial poem to three young men who died in a car crash. And then something slightly more optimistic and uplifting from her with her poem Apollo, which is a prose poem, which I enjoy very much. And it contains a hero who fights back from a really grim situation and becomes empowered by it.
On the corner of James on 5th Street in the highway of Loma Gandhi, they had an accident. The road was covered in pieces of metal and blood. The women who were close to the accident spot covered their children's faces to avoid them seeing such a scene, as it would disturb them emotionally. The news of the death of the three young men spread as a wildfire in the town of Karoi. Their death created a tense atmosphere in their homes, with wives and mothers weeping to their last beats. The three were well known in the town of Karoi. While on their way to enjoy themselves, death wiped them from the living world in the form of an accident. Their departure from the living world created fear and pain in the hearts of their friends who had survived the accident. Death, the divider of two worlds, had done his job and no one could stop him. 1998, in the town of Karoi, he was born to a single mother who was as poor as a church mouse. His father, Maurice, had already divorced his mother before he was born, was the well-known town drunkard who would pee in his pants after drinking a whole bottle of vodka. He grew up wearing tattered clothes that his mother continually fixed until they were non-fixable. He grew up as a fan of Bible stories of strong men like Samson and would visualize himself as powerful as Hercules. He grew up upright as a tower, and with that he gained every neighbor's trust. One day it came to his attention that his father had started visiting his compound in the middle of the night and would sexually abuse his mother. His actions made Apollo angry. That one day he pushed him out of the compound and warned him never to set foot again. His father obeyed him. He started protecting the whole neighborhood from oppressors, and with that he was called Apollo, the god of protection.
And from the god of protection, we move to a similarly sort of mythic theme with Priscilla Mpofu's No More Fear. And I love the title, No More Fear. Is it a description? Is it a command? Is it a request? I don't know. Is it all of these things? Well, in it, we have a kind of Damascus moment in which the speaker decides to succeed once and for all and forevermore into the future.
No more fear. Background does not define a person unless they allow it to define them. I had my Damascus moment when I was in Form 1 at a rural school. I always had it in my mind that as long as I went to that school, I was not going to make it in my final exams. I went home with shocking news one day when my sister made it in her exams. She had come out with flying colors in the same school. She left everyone's tongues wagging, and we were all curious to know how she had made it. Our school was the poorest in the district that no one had expected any student to pass. Going to school was time pushing for us. Some would even say we were here to grow up and mature because the conditions were not influencing us to take education seriously. Our school was characterized by inadequate resources and vandalized furniture that in order for one to get a chair, they were supposed to go to school early before the majority came. Latecomers never got a chair throughout the term. The good part about my school was that although the conditions were poor, teachers reported to work and did everything that any teacher in town would do for their learners to pass. I realized there was no reason to fail. I started to take my schoolwork serious from that time, and by the end of our 4-year course, I was found on the top 5 list at our school, and my life was never the same again. Priscilla Mpofu.
Thank you, Priscilla. I love that line. I realise there is no reason to fail. And I think I'm going to get a t-shirt made with it on, because I think more people need to hear that line. So last up in the set list that I'm introducing, and our final set list before we wrap up, is Caris Phillips, and we've got another nature poem here, Ode to a Shell. Another poem in which the speaker is in awe of the beauty of that which we see every day, but on closer inspection may be simple, but is also pretty inspiring. And for me, I'm really glad this has come at the end of the people's readings, because it kind of is, it embodies the sort of transcultural accessibility of this project, that we all have natural surroundings within our view, and they're things that can inspire whoever we are and wherever we are. So it's lovely to hear Caris's Ode to a Shell, which is next.
Ode to the Shell. You, shell, are mysterious. Where do you come from? Where will you go next? I want to join you on your journeys. Shell, you are the brightest amongst those scattered around you. Do you speak to each other? Do you share sea-salted stories, perhaps swim together to a new destination? You hold the attention of many, and some dare to take you. The dynamic ocean and crispy sand that you lay in, the three of you, a triple honour to spend endless hours with.
Wow, that was beautifully read, and I must admit I didn't appreciate the beauty of the assonance until I heard that reading then and saw it. Thank you to Caris. So that's the end of our participants' readings. I'm going to invite Christina back into the room at this point.
Oh, thank you so
Christina.
much. Hiya. Thank you for those fantastic introductions, and to all of our readers who shared tonight. I've got one other special thing that I'm going to show everyone before we finish up. So as you heard, we have a huge range of different kinds of themes being covered in this ebook: womanhood, empowerment, poverty, life, death, philosophical musings, all sorts of things. But one of the other things that we asked our participants for were photographs. This project is called Where I'm Writing From, and Goddess Kate and I we were interested in where our participants were writing from, what their landscapes looked like, what their rooms looked like, what the sort of conceptual space looked like in terms of where they were writing from. So I'm going to share with you now a slideshow of some of the images that we've included in the ebook. The ebook itself is in black and white, so we have a bit of a treat to see some of these images in color tonight. So I'm going to share this now for us, so we can really try and get a sense together of where all of our participants are writing from. So I hope you enjoyed that. I wanted to end our slideshow here on this amazing quote by Amaneta Forna. If you want to know a country, read its writers. This, at its heart, is a cross-cultural project from, between Wales and Zimbabwe, as you would have seen tonight. And I feel that for each of us, the more that we read from these places, the more we get to know these countries. So before we finish tonight, I'm going to invite my partners back to the stage so that we can say some thank yous and wrap up. So Goddess, welcome back, and Kate. I just want to say before we finish, thank you both for all of your work and support and inspiration on this project. It is no mean feat to run a digital project between two countries for 2 years and on 2 phases. And I know personally that I would have not wanted to do this with anyone else. You both inspire me and have been so supportive and wonderful throughout this whole endeavor. And I know that the participants appreciate you too. So thank you both so much for that. I also want to thank all of our participants who read tonight, who opened themselves up, who tried new writing, who were vulnerable, both in our first phase for those of you who were on it, and as well through where I'm writing from. You can probably see from some of the comments some of the connections that these participants have made with each other as well, and we're so grateful that you trusted us with your writing and that you spent this important time with us. I also want to thank our mentors who you saw tonight, Emma and Mercy. This project definitely would not have been what it is without the both of you. We're so grateful to you for your incredible mentorship and for your facilitation on the retreats and for, getting used to all of the interesting and dynamic experiences of leading a project online and across 2 countries. And I also want to thank Ina Makonde, who is here tonight, who is our project assistant in Zimbabwe, and who without her, we would not have been able to run our retreat. So we're very grateful to you, Ina. Goddess and Kate, I'd also like to open the floor to you as well to extend any of your thoughts towards the people that we've just thanked, and also toward the British Council who funded us through the Go Digital project and who we wouldn't have been able to do any of this without. So yes, Goddess and Kate, would you like to add in any final thoughts or parting words or thanks or just anything before we finish up tonight?
Yeah, I'll go, and then maybe Goddess, if you want to round things off. Well, I just want to say a huge hats off, especially to Christina and Goddess, who have really powered this journey, and it's been fantastic to observe and to be a small part of, and to watch you support strong voices emerge, and also support really the refining of people's creative and digital skills, along with the mentors and the support of British Council and Cardiff Metropolitan University. It's just been an absolute joy and one of the nicer elements of daily life for me. So thanks for doing so well with it, and thank you to all the women who've been involved and who've put themselves forward really and have stepped up, stepped forward, and shared your words. Goddess, do you want to add anything?
Sorry, I'm muted again. Yeah, totally add or remove anything from what you both just said. I'm just very thankful that I ended up with this project with the both of you. Very, very lucky. It could have it could have failed to work, So we are very thankful. We also won an award. I keep repeating this to anyone who cares to listen. We won a Hub Camera Africa Partnership Award. I think I hope I've said it correctly. Yeah. So we must be doing something right, and the fact that we keep Christina, should I say it? We actually had very good news to share this evening. Yeah. So I think I'll go ahead and just say it's part of it, and Christina can just finish up the other part, and then we are actually very happy to tell you who may not know that we got the funding for the third phase of this project, and we're super excited because things are going to be happening very, very soon and very, very fast. Yeah, Kristen, I'm going to let you finish this very important announcement, the other part of it, the very exciting part of it. Yeah, so
yes, so
drum
we're very
beats, dun, dun, dun.
Yes, so our third phase of funding is going to enable us to bring some of our Zimbabwean participants here to Wales, where we will continue to do some writing together, some facilitated discussions about the project, some panel discussions, and we're just so excited. So some of our participants from Zimbabwe and Wales will actually get to meet finally face to face, and we will get to do some amazing new things on this next phase. So we are very excited about that. Please keep your ears and eyes open about this new project. And we are so grateful to the British Council for awarding us and for believing in us consistently, even when we didn't know what was going to happen with our project, who was going to join us, what it was going to look like. They have always supported us, and we're so grateful and are very excited for this next phase. So yay! Keep an eye on your inboxes and keep an eye out for us on social media. In the meantime, I also just want to have a little kind of plug for this ebook. If you liked what you heard tonight, I'm putting a link to Amazon where you can now buy the Where I'm Writing From ebook, and you can have a look at some of the readings that we listened to this evening, so that you can really get a sense of what our participants have written and spend some time with it on the page. We also have some kind of reflections and testimonials from our participants and introductions by Goddess and I. And yes, we just hope that you enjoy that work. And we are so grateful to everyone who's come along tonight and who's been a part of this project in a big way or a small way. It's been absolutely incredible. So thank you all so much for tonight, and we will see you soon.
Yeah, thanks everybody. Thanks British Council, Wales.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Have a lovely evening, and may these writers' words just ring in your ear, and I hope they follow you as they followed us. Have a great night, everybody. See you soon.
Yeah. See
Bye.
you. Bye.